الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الأمين وعلى آله وأصحابه الطاهرين أما بعد فقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد فلا وربك لا يؤمنون حتى يحكموك فيما شجر بينهم ثم لا يجدوا في أنفسهم حرجا مما قضيت ويسلموا تسليما. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تركت فيكم أمرين لم تضلوا ما تمسكتم بهما كتاب الله وسنتي أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. My dear brother Muhammad Naqvi, brother Bashar Khan, all my dear brothers and sisters gathered here in good number. Today I am asked to speak about a very important subject, which is Muslim personal law and modern challenges. This subject, as most of the Indians here, they all know that it is a very relevant subject. And if there are any non-Indians here, for them also it is important, because India is a country with highest number of Muslims. According to official census, there are 180 million Muslims, which is next only to Indonesia. Probably if you take the correct census, correct count, I believe that the number of Muslims in India is more than that of Indonesia. So it's a large number of Muslims who are affected by the issue of Muslim personal law in India. So it is an issue of every Muslim living on this earth. So it's a very relevant issue. And particularly in this program of welcoming Ramadan, this is probably a right subject to discuss, because our Sharia comes from Quran. When Allah Ta'ala introduces Ramadan in Quran, Allah Ta'ala says, Shahru Ramadan allazi unzila fihi al-Quran. When Allah Ta'ala introduces Ramadan, He says that it is the month of Quran. Of course, it's a month of fasting as well, but in Quran it is not introduced as a month of fasting. It is introduced as a month of Quran. And what is Quran? Quran is our book of guidance, and Quran is also a source of our Sharia, and Muslim personal law is part of Sharia. That's why it is relevant to talk about in this program of welcoming Ramadan. And first of all, let me, because we have very limited time, let's try to understand what is Muslim personal law. The family laws in Muslims, among Muslims, is considered as Muslim personal law, and it is there all over the world, also in India. And how Muslim personal law started in India? If you know the Indian history, India is ruled by Muslims for 800 to 1000 years. Among them are various Muslim kings. Also, for hundreds of years, Mughal rulers. The word Mughal comes from Mongols. And the Mongol Babur, he came to India and he invaded India and he ruled India. And after Babur, all the other kings, whether it is Humayun or Shah Jahan or Akbar or Aurangzeb, until Bahadur Shah Zafar, all the other kings were born, brought up and died in India. So they were very much Indians, and they lived like Indians, and they contributed to India. They did not take wealth of India to anywhere. They were very much Indians. And some of them were not very much Islamically oriented kings. But in spite of that, the rule at that time in the courts were Islamic Sharia. If Muslims used to go for any kinds of dispute, to solve the disputes in the courts, there was Islamic Sharia in the courts. Also, if you see, even today, there are a large number of Hindus, Adivasis, Christians, Buddhists, Jains, and so many religions in India. All prevailed and flourished during the time of Muslims, kings as well. For them, there were personal laws and basic family laws related to marriage, divorce, inheritance, and these kind of things were decided according to their own religious concepts and belief. And that is called personal law. And then came British to India. And when British conquered India and they colonized India, one of the things they terminated is Islamic Sharia in the courts. But you know, there was a stiff opposition, particularly from the Muslim community against British in India. And Muslim community played a big role in the independence of India for centuries. And one of the reasons because Muslims always preferred for an independent nation to practice their religion, also to see an independent nation, because independence is a basic human right, which also Islam endorses. And also one of the reasons, ulamas also, if you see the Indian independence struggle, large number of Islamic scholars, Muslim scholars, keenly participated and motivated people to participate in the freedom struggle of India. Whether it is Muhammad Ali Jawhar, Maulana Muhammad Ali Jawhar, Maulana Shaukat Ali Jawhar, Maulana Azad, or a big list of Maulanas. And several of them sacrificed themselves. And one of the reasons they were keenly taking interest in the independence struggle from the British is because they terminated Islamic Sharia as well. And their presence in India was a threat to Islamic Sharia. Then later on India became independent and India became true country. And this part of India where we are living, their democratic and secular independent governance came into existence. And at that time they formed a constitution under the leadership of Ambedkar. And when they were writing the constitution, they confirmed that there should be a full religious freedom in India. And they added these clauses in Indian constitution. One of the clauses is Article 25, which is part of fundamental rights. And what Article 25 says and guarantees that every Indian citizens will have a right to practice any religion and to act upon any religion and to propagate any religion. This is a fundamental right. Also there is Article 26, which says that every religious group will have freedom to practice their rituals and any kinds of rituals they have. And this freedom will also be given to them. So these kind of fundamental rights are given. And for Muslims and other religions, there were also ensured that there will be a personal law to make any decisions in the court regarding their family affairs. But criminal law will be common to all of them. In a country like India, Muslims have no objection for having criminal law which is non-Islamic, because Islamic criminal law can be implemented only in an Islamic society. If the infrastructure is not there, for example, if you construct a railway road, you cannot drive a bus in that road because infrastructure is different. Like that, when there is no Islamic society, there is Islamic criminal law cannot be implemented. So Muslims of India have no objection for that. But personal law, which means marriage, divorce, inheritance and these kind of affairs, should be decided according to Islamic Sharia, and that is called personal law. And this personal law was given and guaranteed to Muslims, and not only to Muslims. There are more than 200 personal laws in India. But Muslims are the only people more concerned about personal law, because Muslims are concerned about the belief. Our belief is not something we have derived and we can change it. That's not something we can change it, because it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why we are more concerned. Whereas the other personal laws of so many other religious groups, most of them is, any small changes, if they undergo, they don't bother, because everything is not derived from the divine books. So Muslims are more concerned about it, and this was given to Muslims. And this is, but along with that, in Indian constitution there are directive principles. Directive principles means it is not a fundamental rights of anybody. It's not a basic thing, but it is a kind of wish list. In future, what should happen in India? That is called directive principles. And in directive principles, there are so many things, like 100% literacy should be guaranteed to Indians. This is one of the fundamental rights, one of the directive principles. Or there should be total alcohol ban in India. That is one of the directive principles. Also, there is one more directive principle in article number 44, which says a uniform civil code may be implemented in India. Why the word uniform is used? There are two words, uniform and common. Why the word uniform is used? There is also historical background for that. It's not common civil code. There is nowhere in Indian constitution the word common is not used anywhere, but uniform is used. Also, why uniform is used? Because there is a background. When India got independence, when they were preparing a constitution, then there was a case of a Hindu woman in court. And this was a case regarding inheritance. In court, they decided that, according to the law of inheritance of Hinduism at that time, the property right is not there for women. So she was deprived of the property right. So she went again to the court, appealed to the higher court, saying that I am not, Hindu of a belief where there is no law of inheritance for women. Hindu is a big religion. There are hundreds of practices, and Indian constitution guarantees my practices as well. And according to my belief of Hinduism, there is a right of inheritance to me. So I should be given right of inheritance. That was a Hindu lady. And finally they discussed more, and the right of inheritance was given to her. So at that time the word uniform is used because the intention was, among the Hindus there are various kinds of law. So there should be a uniform law for Hindus, uniform law for Muslims, uniform law for Jains. Like school uniforms, if you see, there are 15 Indian schools in Kuwait, uniform is different everywhere. It's uniform but it's not common. So similar way, uniform civil code means there should be a uniform civil code for each groups. That was the intention. That's why the word uniform is used. In that way, if it is implemented, that for Muslims, among Muslims also there are various groups. Among Muslims also there are various organizations. And Muslims there is Shia and Sunnah. For example, there will be a uniform civil code which says that according to Sharia, according to one civil code which is based on Sharia and which is codified by the Muslim scholars, this uniform civil code is applied to Muslims, then there is no difference of opinion and expressed every time. Every time they make some decisions related to Sharia matters, they say that this should be an option, and there should be an option for implementing uniform civil code in India. And this is a big threat to Sharia. That's why people are concerned about it. You know how the first concern started in 1971. There was an adoption bill presented in the Indian court. And according to adoption bill, their intention was to, any adopted child, he should be treated like any natural child. And that was the bill about. According to Islam, adopted child is treated differently. Adopted child will not be treated as a natural child. And his marriage or his inheritance, everything is different. So marriage, whom he can marry is also, he cannot, all these relations who are for your child, for example, a female child cannot marry her uncle. But if a female child is an adopted child, then the case is different. So like that, everything is different. When they were producing this bill, they also said that this is a door to implementation of common or uniform civil code in India. So at that time it was a first awareness that it is a big intervention on Muslim personal law, and gradually if the Muslim personal law, there is an intervention on Muslim personal law, gradually Muslims lose their identity. Today Muslims are identified as Muslims in India because of the Muslim personal law. If Muslim personal law is not there, the identity is gone. So many small groups in India, their identity is gone now. For example, Lingayat. Lingayat is a small group in South India, in Karnataka, in Telangana, in Maharashtra. They are 7.5 crores in number. They are believing in one God, and they are not Hindus. They are not worshipping any idols. This is their belief. But now, most of the Lingayats, for example, Yediyurappa, the opposition leader in Karnataka and the president of BJP and leader of BJP, is from Lingayat community. He is no more Lingayat anymore. He is working for BJP. And his cause is for the Bharatiya Janata Party, the Hindu cause, the Hinduization of India. That is his cause. So like that, Jains are also, they are Hinduized. So like that, many small identity is gone now. Muslims can prevail their identity in a minority countries like in India, where Muslims are minority, and many other places where Muslims are a minority. In order to protect their identity, Muslim personal law is an important thing. So when this bill was being presented, which says that adopted child should be considered as a natural child, it was a big threat to Muslim personal law. So at that time, Muslim scholars gathered, particularly under the leadership of a great scholar of that time, Maulana Abullais Islahi Nadwi. He was the motivator to contact all the ulamas and make a group of the ulamas. Unfortunately, every section of the Muslims they gathered in 1972 in Mumbai, and they formed Muslim Personal Law Board. And that was the biggest united body of Muslims. And that was the biggest, fortunate enough that even today, Muslim Personal Law Board, in Muslim Personal Law Board, you will find all the major groups of Muslims in India in Muslim Personal Law Board. There is Jamaat-e-Islami, there is Salafi organization, there is Tablighi, Jamaat, there is Shia, there is Sunnah, and every section of Muslims in India are part of Muslim Personal Law Board. So they formed Muslim Personal Law Board in 1972. And that was the first thing they have done regarding the formation of Muslim Personal Law Board. And whenever there were challenges to Muslim personal law, they came into action and they conducted so many programs to create awareness about Muslim personal law in India. The second biggest challenge came in 1986. That's called Shahbanu case. There was a lady called Shahbanu, and her husband divorced her, and she requested for maintenance. And she appealed to the court that I should be given maintenance because I am divorced. And she was divorced when she was 40-year-old. And case was there in the court for 20 years. And when she became 60-year-old, court gave a decision that she should be given monthly maintenance, which is again against the Sharia. In Islamic Sharia, there is no monthly maintenance for a divorced woman. You have to give a lump sum amount. And the media at that time portrayed as if a biggest justice done to a lady who is deprived and who is really oppressed. But if you see the fact, she was 40-year-old, and when she became 60-year-old, all her children were grown up and she was getting enough support. And the court said that monthly maintenance was not a big amount. Court said 150 rupees should be given for a maintenance, as a maintenance to Shahbanu. And that was not something, protection, that after 20 years, a court is giving a decision of 150 rupees per month. What she is going to get from that? This is just for the intervention in Islamic Sharia, that's all. And also they mentioned about the implementation of common or uniform civil code at that time. It was Justice Chandrachud, a justice called Justice Chandrachud, who was making a decision. And for his decision, he based a Quranic ayah. In Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter number 2 and verse number 241, which says, وَلِلْ مُطَلَّقَاتِ مَتَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ حَقًّا عَلَى الْمُتَّقِينَ. For a divorced woman, it is a right of a God-fearing person that he should give a lump sum amount, مَتَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, an amount based on the standard of that time. He should be given, she should be given. So that is the translation of Mata'un bil Ma'ruf, that she should be given a lump sum amount which is according to the fair standard. Ma'ruf means fair standard. That was the translation. But Justice Chandrachud, when he was referring to the various translations, he somewhere found a word maintenance somewhere, that she should be given maintenance. So based on that, he made a decision that she should be given maintenance, per month maintenance, she should be given. Shahbanu later on, when she learned that it is an intervention on Sharia, she took her case back. That's another thing. But this created a big awareness in India. In 1986, Muslim Personal Law Board came into action. If some of you remember, at that time, Muslims conducted a huge protest all over India. And this is every good community, they should use their problems as opportunities. A Muslim Personal Law Board rightfully used this problem as an opportunity to create awareness, opportunity to build pressure on the government, opportunity to eradicate the misunderstanding. So this was a huge turnout of Muslims, and Muslims were united at that time. There was no difference of opinion regarding the protection of Sharia. Seeing this huge crowd and seeing this unification and united efforts of Muslims, government is really, they thought that the next time when there is an election, we are not going to power. We are not getting the power because Muslims are all united, they may vote against us. So Rajiv Gandhi at the time, who was the Prime Minister, he introduced a bill called Muslim Women's Protection Bill. And that was introduced and passed, and that's how the problem is solved, that every matter related to Sharia will be decided according to Sharia. That was the Muslim Women's Protection Bill. So, the problem was solved. And recently there was another problem, and that's how the issue came again. A lady called Saira Banu, or people write Shaira Banu, maybe or Shaira or Saira, whatever. She went to the court saying that I have been divorced after 15 years of my marriage. My marriage is annulled by talaq, and that to a triple talaq, talaq. 3 times if you say talaq, she will be annulled. This is a very un-Islamic practice, but unfortunately which is prevalent in India, Pakistan and many Indian subcontinent and many other places. So this is very un-Islamic. There is no such talaq called, in one sitting you say 3 talaq and talaq will happen. It is very un-Islamic, and it is a punishable crime. And in history, many people were punished even during the time of Umar radiyallahu ta'ala. Anybody divorced her in one sitting, he is punished. So it's a punishable crime to do that, and it's a very un-Islamic procedure to do that. And her marriage is annulled, and she went to court seeking for justice. So at that time, so many people took interest on that. There is a ladies organization called Bharatiya Muslim Mahila Andolan, means Indian Muslim Ladies Movement. And who is the 2 stalwarts of that organization? One is Zakia Suman and another one is Noor Jahan. And this is promoted not by Muslims, but RSS, Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, an organization which is promoting the current government, which has a big agenda of Hinduizing the whole India, which is a very anti-Muslim, apparent anti-Muslim organization, which is like a Zionist organization of India. This has formed this organization, Muslim organization, to create problems in Muslims. And among the 2 ladies, Zakia Suman, you may be wondering what Suman means. Zakia is an Arabic name. What is Suman? Suman is not an Arabic name because Suman is her maiden name. She married to Suman Nambiar, a Hindu man. And she married according to Hindu procedures. And she may remain as a Hindu. She is not a Muslim. And Noor Jahan also, her only name is Muslim. She is not a Muslim as well. These 2 non-Muslims, with their Muslim tag and Muslim name, they formed an organization called Muslim Women's Movement, Indian Muslim Women Movement. It is not a Muslim organization. And they said that they collected 50,000 signatures in favor of the case, and they insisted to the court that this procedure of the triple talaq should be annulled, and polygamy should be annulled, and the procedure of halala should be annulled, and a new and uniform civil code must be formed for Muslim community to solve their problems. And the existing government today, they took a lot of interest in the case, including the Prime Minister. They said that this is a very relevant case for us, and this case shows that Muslim women's Muslim women's problems in the form of the triple talaq goes against democracy and gender justice and fundamental laws. So triple talaq should be annulled. So government also filed a affidavit, and they took a lot of interest in that. And also the hearing was going on from May 11th until yesterday. And got a lot of awareness campaigns in India. Muslim Personal Law Board created a lot of awareness campaigns in India, and also they appointed 3 judges. One of the judges, Kapil Sibal, who is a very famous judge and ex-Congress minister and a very efficient man in the field of law. He is one of the judges, and 2 more judges, they are also fighting for this cause. And after 5 days of discussion, one of the victories is that they were supposed to discuss 3 issues. One is triple talaq, one is polygamy, one is halala. But the court said that because of the time we are discussing only triple talaq. After strong arguments of 5-6 days, they could not come to a conclusion. Finally, they hold the decision. When will be the next decision? When is the next hearing? That is only time will say. So until now, nothing happened. No decision came. But the interest shown by the government, also in the meantime, government said that if triple talaq is annulled by the court, there should be a new law enacted which is beneficial for Muslim women. They are showing lot of interest in Muslim women. So, whereas Muslims in India are facing lot of problems, but talaq is not one of them. Triple talaq is not one of them. In India, Muslims facing so many problems, even Muslim women. For example, if you go to the red light areas of Mumbai and Calcutta and many other places, there are thousands of Muslim women who are prostitutes. And this problem is not because of talaq or not because they became widow. This problem is mainly because of lack of Islamic knowledge and poverty and many other social problems. So these are the problems Muslims are facing. There are so many other problems. For example, there is no representation of Muslims in spite of their number as 180 million Muslims living in India. There is no proper representation, and Muslims are living under the atmosphere of fear in many places. So this is the biggest problem. Nobody is concerned about it. Government is only concerned about solving the problem of triple talaq. This shows what is the real concern is. The real concern is not Muslims' problems, but the real concern is to intervene on Islamic Sharia so that gradually the Muslims will lose their identity. When in coming generations, there should not be Muslim identity in India. That is their intention. So coming to the main point, we have to know and we have to find out whether we have real problem of triple talaq in India. Is it a big problem for us? You can say yes and no. When you say no, according to the census, the last census happened only in 2011, and after that there are so many surveys conducted. According to all census, rate of divorce among Muslims is lesser than rate of divorce among Hindus, Christians and other groups. In Hindus, there are so many things are not there. For example, remarriage is not there. Hindu Marriage Act is introduced very recently, only some years back. According to Hindu traditions, they cannot marry, they cannot have 2 wives, the widow cannot marry, and so many, they cannot give divorce, and so many problems are there. Because of that, they are taking the advantage of Islamic Sharia and personal law. Many Hindus are taking the advantage. So many people every day taking advantage of Muslim personal law by embracing Islam to solve their problems. For example, Hema Malini, when she wanted to marry Dharmendra, she is a non-person, that's why I am quoting the example of Hema Malini. She is an actor and she is a MP of BJP government, an anti-Muslim party, and she is the MP of that party. And when she wanted to marry another actor, Dharmendra, who was already married, who had 2 children, so according to Hindu religion, they cannot marry because he is already a married person and second marriage will not happen. So what they did, they went to court and embraced Islam, and she changed her name as Aisha. Even today in her nikah nama, her name is Aisha. And they married Dharmendra and they are living together. Only because they are taking advantage of Islamic Sharia and Muslim personal law because it is beneficial, it solves human problems. It shows that Muslim personal law is the biggest blessings to Muslims and every human beings as well, because it's a natural law. It is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because one individual human being or a group of individual human beings cannot make laws for a group of individuals of all time, because they are not aware of the human psychology. It's only Creator who can give laws, and our law is derived from Quran al-Kareem and Hadith, which is from Creator. So it is a rahmah. But if you see that problem of divorce is not a big problem among Muslims compared to the existing problem among non-Muslims. And so many other things which they are mentioned. Even polygamy is not a big problem among Muslims, though it is there, but it is not as big problem as Muslims as among non-Muslims. Though it is not allowed in them, some of the groups, of course, in Islam, in India, there are so many categories of Hindus. For example, in some groups in Arunachal Pradesh, they have a tradition called polyandry. Polyandry is an age-old tradition, and it is rooted back to the Hindu philosophy. For example, Pandavas, Pancha Pandavas, they say 5 Pandavas were there. And how many wives was there? Only one. Draupadi was one wife, and 5 Pandavas were there. So that philosophy is even there in Arunachal Pradesh, that if there are 5 brothers, they marry one woman. So it is like one Draupadi and Pancha Pandavas. So like that tradition even there, it's there prepared. So many kinds of problems are there. Comparatively, problem is very less among Muslims, and it is not a pressing and basic problems of Muslims today. And another, if you say yes, there is a problem. Yes, if you speak, definitely there is a problem. Among the Muslim community, they should solve this problem. They need not have to take it to the court. For example, triple talaq, 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 and talaq happens. Is it Islamic? Very un-Islamic. What is the correct procedure of talaq? The correct procedure of talaq is most undesirable in the sight of Allah among all permissible things. Allah Ta'ala has given permission to so many things. Among that, what is most undesirable is talaq. That's why there are a lot of injunctions given before marriage. You have to be concerned about kufu. Kufu means what? The comparison, and there should be equality when a man and woman marry. And so many other things should be considered, and religion should be given priority. And finally, marriage happens. And after marriage happens, if there is any misunderstanding, try to solve this misunderstanding. Talk to each other. And sometimes, there should be a separation from the bed. And you can give small punishment to wife. For example, beating means not beating in such a way that her bones are broken and the blood comes out. Not that way. Just to express your anger, so that once the anger is expressed, people become neutralized. And sometimes a small beating will solve many problems sometimes. That way it is allowed to even give punishment sometimes. If nothing happens, be away from the bed for a while, and that also solves some of the problems. And even if that is not going to happen, appoint an arbiter from the both sides, that one person from wife's side, one person from man's side, husband's side, so that they can argue, they can discuss and finalize that really they want to divorce or not. Finally, if they deciding means not in anger, not in emotions, not in a timely manner, after enough thinking, she can give divorce not in a during the time of menstrual period. During natural days, he can give one divorce, a talaq. And after that, he should wait for 3 menstrual cycles. And during these 3 months, she should stay in his house. And in between, if the conjugal relations happens, if the reconciliation happens, they will remain as husband and wife. And if it did not happen, talaq will happen, they will be separated. No need of triple talaq. By one talaq, they will be separated. But there is an opportunity of reunion. After this one talaq, there is an opportunity of reunion, not even after 3 months, even after 1 year. If they think of reunion, it is allowed for them. And again, if there is a misunderstanding, they can go through the same procedure of talaq, and second talaq happens. And again, there is an opportunity for reunion. And if the third time, if same kind of misunderstanding happen, and if he gives talaq third time, then there is a punishment for both, that they cannot unite again. And this is what is triple talaq all about. The triple talaq is not saying talaq, talaq, talaq at one time. It is in 3 different times. It is a natural phenomena to discourage divorce. And halala is also same thing. In such natural way, if people are, 2 husband and wife is separated, then they cannot marry again. But naturally, if the second husband died and second husband also divorces her, then the time has passed and water is flown under the bridge and things are different and you are living in a different timing. Now you can remarry her husband because in between she has married somebody else, and that is what is halala. But for that, Muslims have invented a new method. If there is a divorce happen, again if you want to remarry a first husband, they make halala. They find a temporary husband in between and arrange a marriage. This is called halala. This is again an un-Islamic practice. This should not be there. So what is the solution for this? The solution is, as I have mentioned the Quranic ayah in the beginning of my lecture. Quran says, فَلَا وَرَبُّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُكَ فِي مَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَجِدُوا فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَرَجًا مِمَّا قَضَيْتَ وَيُسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. You cannot become a good believer unless when there is a matter of dispute among you, you should decide according to what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has preached. And you should not feel even the least of dissatisfaction about the teaching of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, but completely accept it. And this is the solution, that whatever is there in Islam, whatever our Islamic Sharia says, accept it and practice it perfectly. Do not play with it. Do not, misutilize the injunctions given to you. This triple talaq and talaq, one sitting is a total misutilization of the opportunity and the injunction given to you. It goes against Islam. And these kind of problems created by Muslims and practiced by Muslims is a real problem, and it is against, because of that, Islam is demonized. And because of that, people are spreading a lot of misunderstanding about Muslims and Islam as well. So that's why it is our responsibility to practice Islam perfectly and to use all our problems as opportunities. These problems should be converted into opportunities, and to unite Muslims and to solve our problems. And Muslims as a minority also, if you see our history, how Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he went to Medina, he was a minority. But minority solved the many problems of Medina. Minority came as a blessing to the society of Medina. They were not concerned about their own problems, but they were concerned about the problems of Medina. And that's how they became dominant. So we as Muslims, or any Muslims living in any country as minority, they should be concerned about so many human problems. Because there is a solution in Islam. How many problems we have in India? The problem of inequality, problem of persecution of women, and so many other problems. And there is solutions with us. Present these solutions and practice these solutions and become a nice, good individual. And also we have to understand as Indian Muslims that 180 Muslims cannot migrate anywhere. One person may go to Canada, another person may go to America, another person may go end up in Australia. It is a matter of some people only. 180 million people, they cannot go anywhere. There will not be hijrah. They cannot go anywhere. They have to live in India, live like a good Muslims. This challenge they have to accept, and for that they have to live as a productive, efficient and influential people, which is what is the requisite of our deen as well. And that's why Allama Iqbal also said in his one of the couplet, तकदीर के खाजी का ये फतवा है अज़ल से है जुर्म ज़ईफ़ी की सज़ा मर्ग मफ़ाजात, which means if you are weak, you are going to perish. This is the decision of the qazi of the destiny. Throughout the destiny, every time proved that if you are weak, you are going to die. Don't be weak, be strong. Use your problems and convert it into opportunities and contribute to society and be efficient, strong in the sense not only muscle power, strong in your character, strong in your morals, strong in your knowledge, strong in your influence. This kind of strength Muslims should acquire and to change the society. May Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala bless us to do that. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.